This video is covered under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, etc.
Oh, look, another so-called true crime live from Bullhorn Betty, gracing us with her wisdom, or lack thereof. Stay tuned till the end for Bullhorn Betty clips. The show, as usual, started with her complaining about horrible echoes and technical issues, because clearly, basic setup is beyond her capabilities, even after she supposedly set up the show. And of course, she has to shout out her beautiful coffee beans as if that's a personality trait. Then began the usual aimless ramble. 1 minute we're staying on the case of Jaden Spicer, the next she's admitting she should have had her bullet points and her brain is not playing nice. This isn't insightful commentary, it's watching someone struggle to form a coherent thought in real time. We're dragged through comparisons to Sebastian Rogers, a sudden tangent about HT, because why stay on topic, and then back to Jaden Spicer, only to detour into a press conference and the host's thrilling updates on her fancy new virtual studio with chat up here and ding ding dings, truly groundbreaking broadcast improvements, I'm sure. Her self-congratulatory pats on the back for building the show and building the virtual studio are nauseating. She boasts about an open-source system that I can literally do whatever the heck I want to do, which seems to translate into doing whatever she wants, regardless of whether it's good content or relevant to the true crime she supposedly covers. Her pride in the progress is baffling, given the chaotic result. The opinions flow freely, often contradicting themselves or just being plain outrageous. She's not buying Jaden's mom's story and readily labels her a terrible mother who thrust Jaden into the pits of hell. Yet, she wants the government out of our lives, only to then float the idea of taking away women's reproductive rights if they have too many children they can't care for, a stunning display of hypocrisy. And let's not forget her constant, vitriolic rants against Sumner County law enforcement and Sheriff Eric Craddock, claiming they lack leadership, are not doing their job, and are pompous. She's going to absolutely be campaigning against him, yet also admits she doesn't know for a fact if Jaden's stepfather was involved, despite, as she says, side-eyeing him just like everybody else is. Peak journalistic integrity right there. And the tangents. A poll on whether the sheriff's voice is too deep, seriously? In a true crime show? Followed by a thrilling discussion about her coffee preferences and how she gives her mom the almond armorito she doesn't like. Oh, and let's not forget her deep dive into the nuances of talk-to-text pronunciation. This is meant to be a crime commentary, not a morning coffee chat with a friend. She caps it all off with more self-aggrandizement, claiming she pissed on the good old boys club and is a rock star because a state senator also searched for a missing child. Her complaints about being mentally exhausting and issues with bullying people online ring hollow when her own rhetoric is so combative and accusatory. In short, it's an unprofessional, disorganized, and deeply self-indulgent stream filled with ill-informed opinions, technical gaffes, and more off-topic chatter than actual crime analysis. Anyone seeking actual information or serious commentary should look elsewhere. Remember, everyone, do not be a Betty.
Morning, Betty. Oh, there it is. Oh, I need to turn that volume down. Ooh, I don't like the volume. That volume's loud. I got our stuff up and working. How do you guys like that? We now have chat up here. We have our ding ding dings. We're still, like I said, I can only do just a little bit, a little bite size here and a little bite size there. But as I'm doing these little bite sizes, we're getting everything kind of rolling out. And so as I'm building the show and building the studio, the virtual studio, it's giving, I know, we're getting fancy. I know, I love it. It's been, I'm really proud of the progress. I have to be honest, I'm proud of the progress. Proper, instruction. I don't know. All I know is that we've watched a lot of missing children cases. We know that we're being duped here by the parents. Law enforcement, you guys are going to hear, because we're about to put a law enforcement agent up here that's going to tell you how he feels about lies. And we've caught Katie and Chris in a lot of lies. But this is related to Jaden's case, not Sebastian's case. But can we garner some information? Yes. And what we hear is that law enforcement in Sumner County, every time we listen to these, are not doing their job. A lot of people have additional searches after the main search. We've got none of that from Sumner County. And I truly believe this case will not be solved until Eric Craddock is out of office. I said at the very beginning, you know what? If he's going to shut his mouth and not and tell the public to go F themselves, he better bring some stinking results. Because if he doesn't, it's his career. It's his career. And I'm telling you, his career's done over this case. This is how careers are obliterated. And he is so pompous that he either doesn't believe what I'm saying, but I have brought the truth. I have brought the truth. I told you guys about who else brought up federal funds. Nobody else on these platforms talked about federal funds being ripped from the county over this crap. The only station on this platform that talked about anything related to federal funds was me. And they've got $200 million of federal funds wiped off their books. And I truly believe it's their state saying, look, we're not even getting behind you on this. Sorry, not sorry. That's how I look at it. Because that, to me, $200 million is somebody whipping somebody's butt and wanting them to feel it, you know? I like it, some people don't. Well, should we take it to a poll? Let's take it to a poll. Now you guys got me in. Okay, let's take it to a poll. Does the sheriff's... I can't believe I'm doing a poll on this. Does the sheriff's voice sound we'll say too deep instead of sus. Too deep. We're taking it to the poll, y'all. We're taking it to the poll. If you guys think, we just put up a poll for everybody. If you guys would like to vote, we have a poll right now. The poll is the sheriff's voice too deep? Out of all things that we could be polling right now. Okay. So she hasn't been a very good mother, and why she's had all these children. And guys, we had a conversation that I know is probably problematic to my women out here, because we actually had some conversations about the restricting of women's reproductive rights. And I know that is a really tough topic for a lot of people, but here's a case where this lady has, we are counting, it may be higher than this, 6 children. 6 children. Most of her children have been taken away or split apart. They're not all living with her. At what time, when there are so many mouths to feed and dependence of the taxpayers, does our government have the right to say, hey, if you're not taking care of your children that you keep procreating, we're going to take your rights to procreate away, because we're sick and tired of having them on the taxpayer, you know? And the way our laws are designed is they can't do that. Would that solve some of the issues, or would that complicate it? I'm one of these people where I want the government out of our lives. So I'm one of these people where I cover, these cases. And so I'm sitting here banging my head against the wall, trying to figure out how can we reduce some of this. And it's going against, even what I would be willing to support. But at what point would I be willing to support those types of laws? You know what I'm saying? It's getting closer and closer when I start hearing, because look at Don Wells, same thing. They've had all these children. Not one of those children are those parents taken care of. They're all being taken care of by the state and the taxpayers, But we have Roe versus Wade, and we know that women love their reproductive rights, and they don't want their government in. You guys know my stance. I want the government out of our lives. I want them only dealing with infrastructure and all this other stuff. But I think it's something that you guys need to start, because at some point in our future, I think it's going to be on the table, and we all need to get right with our feelings on it. Just saying. I don't believe she did it alone. I believe the boyfriend helped. It's hard to dig a grave. Yeah, I agree. It's hard. It's hard to dig. I've been out in Florida sun digging trenches for big fat electrical wire to lay into, and big piping to pull that electrical wire through in the dirt. I can tell you I've done like 2 foot down trenches that went 100 foot, 150 foot, 200 foot. It would take me literally all day to dig by myself. So yeah, it is tough, but if she hit him in a tote, waited for the boyfriend to go to work, and then got up and went out there and was gone for several hours, nobody would have been the wiser. I'm not saying that I believe or don't believe Josh at this point. All I'm simply saying is that we have experiences, and recent experiences, of similar situations that happened where the guy had no idea. And so we don't want to sit here and publicly place blame on somebody when we don't have all the details to place blame. Anybody knows I'm the first part. I'll throw somebody under the bus and run that bus over them multiple times. But I always am cautious about who's under that bus, because there are situations where people are treated poorly and they had no knowledge, and they blame themselves for years and years to come because the shoulda, woulda, couldas. And that's going to be a tough pill to swallow, especially if he was blinded. So I would just like a little more information. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. As a matter of fact, if we find out he's involved, it's not surprising at all. But we don't have anything necessarily connecting him other than suspicion, especially in light of the mother, from what we've learned through our audience, not only confessed to the crime, told law enforcement she's the one that did it, and took them out to where he was. Was that to protect her boyfriend, or her husband rather? I don't know, but I don't think the husband would have had really any problem with Jaden. I mean, what problems would he have with Jaden? He was the one working. She was the one home with him. I don't know. I think we need a little more information, but I wouldn't be surprised if we find out he ultimately is involved. And listen to this. I'm just going to throw this out there. You guys know my love-hate relationship with Sumner County. And I'm praying to God that this is what's going on. I don't believe it, but I'm praying that hopefully it is. That the reason why they're being so quiet is that they are friends with the Proudfoots, that they do know the Proudfoots, that they do know the Bowersocks, and that in order for them to investigate their case, they have got to be kind of covert about it. I don't believe it. Again, it seems like a year and a half has passed and nothing was done on the case. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like a lot of people that didn't know what the hell they were doing dropped the ball in many places at the beginning that has caused detrimental results at the end, closer to the end of the case where we're at now. I believe that there's absolutely more than not evidence that would indicate that the mom and the stepdad were both responsible or involved in to some degree related to the disappearance of their son, Katie's son, Sebastian Rogers. I don't know why there's been no abuse charges. I don't know why there hasn't been any low-hanging fruit. I don't know why that these people haven't found something to really apply pressure to this family. But when we got a law enforcement that's more concerned about, getting top brass a raise versus finding a missing child that's been missing in their community for a year and a half, I can see the outrage of their community. And we are going to absolutely be campaigning. It doesn't matter whether he pulls this stuff around or not. I will be actively campaigning against Eric Craddock. I need to find out when Ron Blanton, when he's up for election. But, when you do wrong, when you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. And that's where we're at with Sumner County. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're playing stupid games. And they are just, I don't understand. Even their forensics should be back by now. If there were any forensics, 18 months, those would have been back by a year. Maybe 18 months. They should have forensics rolling in. They should have reports rolling in. They should have data from the FBI coming in. They should have a whole mess of reports right now. And I'm wondering if the detectives even know what they're looking at or reading, because it's making me wonder. There's no excuse. What they did was corruption. They tried to use intimidation to shut my mouth. And as they can see, they don't have the balls or the Constitution to do that. Sumner County was wrong. Their law enforcement was wrong. Them lying on affidavits to do it was wrong. And I pray to God, it sounds like heads are rolling anyways. We got Ray Whitley, he's out. Lying Byington, she's out. $200 million, that's gone. I would say that, Betty did go to jail and they did some underhanded shit, but it sounds like Betty at the end was the winner chicken dinner in my fight with Sumner County. Just saying. So we can go for round two. Anyways, that's where we're at. We need more advocacy for Sebastian Ranger Rogers, and at the end of the day, I don't want to fight with Sumner County. You know what I want out of all this? I want them to do their damn job. That's what I want. I want them to do their job. I want them to work the Sebastian Rogers case like it's their child's case, and they're not. That's what I want. I'd like to say something positive about the county, other than the good people that reside in it. That's what I would like to do. I would like to give Sumner County praises of a job well done and a case solved. That's what I would like. And while I am on the outside and we don't know what type of evidence there is, we also have reality and common sense. There were mistakes made. Why? Because there's mistakes made in every single case. We pray to God the mistakes that are made aren't something that's going to tank the case or drag it out for years. Obviously, they made mistakes that are going to drag this case out for years. The parents lied. There's plenty of evidence. Now they can turn the other cheek, but there's circumstantial evidence here, a strong circumstantial case from where I'm sitting. There may be a few details that need to be had before charges are filed, but they should be well enough along that a press conference would be appropriate. They're intentionally and willfully doing this to Seth for no other reason than because social media makes that shit county look like shit. That's why they're doing it. They're angry. And just like Mr. Frizzell told me, that piece of shit attorney out there, I'd never hire him for anything. They do what they do. This is just how it's done. Well, it's not saturated in law. Well, it's how it's done. So you guys do things, your judges do things that aren't lawful because that's the way you do them. And you as an attorney have no problem with that. That should have given me every bit of clue that I needed. That's why I went outside the county to get attorneys that know how things are done and the law that is written the way it's written. That county is off the chain. They were all in it. Don't worry, we're going to get down to the bottom of that too. So, they're all criminals, all in bed with each other. It's called the Good Old Boys Club. And what did Bullhorn Betty go in there and do? I pissed on it, because I don't do Good Old Boys Club. I do what's right for the community and what's right for the people wherever I go.
All right, that about covers it for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Make sure to turn your bell notifications on. Until next time, be well.